Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Very good.
Good. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I'm gonna have one of my sons, I don't know, they can rock, paper, and scissors, whoever. Oh. Mom already designated one child, never mind. I'm ready, ready? Speak loudly. Oh, just start opening prayer.
Dear Lord, pray with you the good service. Pray that we get a blessed day. Pray that we can learn the lesson what we can.
Amen. he got stuck because the dog. We got new dogs, so the new dogs jumped on him and started getting face. All right, praise reports. Who has some? We all should have a praise report.
Everyone should have one.
Everyone. We woke up today to a beautiful day to deliberately create. 2, we have the opportunity to heal many souls spiritually and physically. And that's actually what we've been doing this whole week. And the truth of the matter, some will get it and some won't get it. Does that make sense? Good morning, Anson. How are you?
Yeah, Anson.
Good to have you on.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to Vancouver.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say too.
I'm back in Vancouver. I'm in my messy bedroom right now. I'm trying to start up my computer, but it's all good. So I'm going to disable my camera in a bit.
Well, we're glad you did.
It's okay. But it's just that the meeting is recorded. So it's going to
Oh, great. What more can I ask for?
It's okay. We didn't see much of the mess. But it's unpacking mess, so it's a good mess.
Yes, it is. It is.
The most important is you made it there safely. And then we pray for your mom and dad to make it safely as well. I didn't realize I thought it was a 4-hour drive. I don't know, 10 hours, like gee whiz.
4 hours? Man, if I'm going 300K an hour, yeah, probably 4 hours.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're taking a jet plane. Any questions, any comments, any concerns before we get started? All good?
Good.
Any praise reports before we start? Are we all good?
Okay.
All right. Everybody got their beverages?
Yes.
Snacks? All right. We're on page 504, and we're going to be talking about the guiltless Son of God. The guiltless Son of God. Question number 1, if you can remember. What is projection? Anyone remember what projection is?
Yes, of course.
With projection. Normally, when people project things onto them, they're trying to get rid of their guilt and put it on someone else because they created it and they don't want it anymore.
Oh, Pastor, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Okay. You know how we are not supposed to have any guilt, right?
Correct.
However, you know, sometimes we feel, I think it's not guilty, we feel bad, right? You know, sometimes we feel bad when things are going too smoothly for us, and then we see other people are not so, you know,
Okay.
or we have more than other people, right?
Can I add to that too?
Okay.
I feel that it's kind of reminiscent based on how I feel for a brief moment yesterday, or actually a few days ago while I was working, because I was given a task to do something, and I thought to myself, I don't know how to do it. Does this mean that I'm not qualified for the job? And I think that's similar to what they call it as an imposter syndrome. I don't know if that's right, but yeah.
Overthinking it, because if you wasn't qualified for the job, you would not have gotten hired for the job. Simple as that. So anything they give you is going to be for learning and for growth. They know you don't know everything. They read your resume. Yes, Lily.
At least for me, I used to think that we are we are very lucky. We have a good house to live in.
Mhm.
So I would try to take in some of the homeless, you know, those people who temporarily become homeless, try to
Mhm.
house them. And then I realized they have their problems that they have to work out themselves,
Yes,
that they get themselves into that kind of situation.
correct.
So I start correcting my thinking. I no longer feel guilty about what I have because this is what I created for myself.
Correct. Oh, yes. So there is no such thing as feeling bad for something. Okay, let me ask you all a question. You feel bad for feeling healthy?
Oh,
Oh, of course not, because we take care of our body, right?
Then why would you feel bad about the things that you deliberately created, that you wanted,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Mhm.
If people do this, yes, Lily.
I think the right mentality is not feeling guilty, but giving people hope that you can be like this too.
Mhm.
We are the walking, living word of God. When people see you, they should see the greater he who is in you than he who is in the world. They should see the magnificence of the love and the light that you bring. So that should be an inspiration for people to want more, want betterment. But you have to remember this, everybody doesn't want what you want.
Mhm.
Everybody's not going to believe the way you believe.
Mhm.
So when people start feeling guilty, I said, why? You wanted it. You wanted it. Then when they get it, then they, oh, I don't want this, pastor. You take it. You deal with it. Do your thing. You sort it out. And they do it, they give it to God, and they do the same thing with God and Holy Spirit. They do the same thing. They project it onto them, and then they try to take it back, you know, and then they curse it. But you should not feel bad for the things that you asked in prayer and received.
Mm.
Whatsoever you desire, according to your scripture, when you pray, believing that you shall receive them, you shall what? Have them. Now, does anywhere in there says, oh, once I get it, I should feel guilty because Tom next door couldn't get what he wanted?
Mm.
Should I feel bad because I got the promotion and everybody in the office didn't get a promotion?
No, because, yeah. Mhm. Okay.
So
It's just
I'm
a
going-
change of thinking, right?
change of thinking. People, you know what, and it's a good question because a lot of people are stuck in religious will give away figuratively and literally what Jesus says, all their possessions and go live in poor and suffering and thinking that's pleasing to God. And it is not.
Mm.
Mm.
They'll go move out of a beautiful home because of a belief to go live in poverty and then get robbed and then wonder why they got robbed, why they got vandalized, why the car wheels were stolen, why the hubcaps were stolen, why the stereo was stolen, why we got to put up alarms through all the house and the second stories as well. And now we got to put safes in the house. Now you done spend all this money because of a belief. Does that make sense? People will believe to the point where they will lose their life in health based on a belief because of the religion. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
Great question. Any others? Question number 2. What is the purpose of projection? To get rid of guilt. Glad you said that.
It's
Absolutely.
it's the ego trying to throw the guilt away.
Yep. I don't want it anymore. And a lot of it is what you're thinking. A bad memory, a bad incident, a bad experience, someone that you consider a bad person, things like that,
Mhm.
or a thing. In the presence of truth, I'll skip that question. I didn't finish it. I started it and forgot.
Mm.
It was supposed to be a fill in the blank, and I forgot to fill in the blank. So I don't remember the question, but we're going to see that in the answer. But we'll skip that one because I don't remember it either. Yeah. Question number 4.
Pastor.
I'm human. Question number 4. Your blank is nothing, and if you will but bring it to the blank you will never get that.
Oh my God, too many blanks already.
There's too many blanks. But it has to deal with guiltlessness. So if you start thinking about your guiltlessness is nothing, and if you will but bring it to the light, the love will dispel it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm.
Most people don't want to bring the guilt up front and talk about the guilt. So it's easy to project it and run away from it. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Oftentimes, if you ask people a question about their belief that they are not comfortable answering, they will put up a defense and fight you about it. And then they'll project anger,
Mhm.
fear,
Mhm.
hate, separation. And then when they see you coming, they want to run as fast as they can. And then all of a sudden, you're the bad guy because you ask too many questions that they don't feel comfortable answering. Because a lot of it is guilt because of what they've been taught in terms of sin.
Sin. Yeah.
So now they don't know what is sin and what is not sin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then when they look at the master Jesus, Yeshua, he was teaching them no sin, no judgment. And they have a hard time with that because they have to have a judgment. I got to project something onto you
Mhm.
because I feel something within myself that I have not dealt with.
Mhm.
So now it's easy to point out Melissa's mistakes, Sudi's mistakes, TDM's mistakes, and I am perfect. Affirmation. I am the guiltless son of God. Simple.
Mhm.
The ultimate purpose of projection is always to get rid of guilt. Yet characteristically, the ego attempts to get rid of guilt from its viewpoint only. For much as the ego wants to retain guilt, you find it intolerable. Since guilt stands in the way of your remembering God, whose pull is so strong that you cannot resist it. When people start waking up, they start asking questions. They start asking the things that are most important to them in terms of their awakening. How can I create from this standpoint? How can I be the light instead of projecting my fears? And the first thing that they start doing is addressing their own fears. So one of the fears I had to address was what? My height, being afraid of heights. But then the more I dwelt into heights was more, I'm afraid of dying. So then my conclusion is fear equals death. Make sense?
Mhm.
On this issue, then the deepest split of all occurs, for if you are to retain guilt, as the ego insists, you cannot be you. And a lot of things people say to other people that they really, quote unquote, might be under the influence or out of anger. And they say, oh, I said that out of anger, or I said that under the influence. And we said, well, the alcohol will make you tell the truth. Anger will make you tell the truth.
Yes.
And once it's presented there, oh, I feel guilty about saying that, even though that's what I really felt in my heart. Only by persuading you that it is you could the ego possibly induce you to project guilt and thereby keep it in your mind. And the thing is to forgive. Forgive yourself and let go of the fear called guilt. And then forgive those that you're fearful of.
Mhm.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Persecution is an experience that tests where you think you are at in your evolution and grounds you into recognizing your reflection, your creation, and your responsibility in healing anything that you need to in order to what? Be whole.
Oh.
So anything that's out of order, I gotta put back in order. This is why the master told the woman who had an issue of blood for 12 years, woman, your faith is what? Made you whole. He didn't say heal. That's different.
Mhm.
Can someone read the next one?
The enlightened will always try to knock down the enlightenment. To try to judge what they do not understand based on the personality concepts and ideas about what enlightenment is or what it should look like.
You ever meet a person? I had a friend that anytime there was something positive, he always brought something negative. We used to call him Mr. Negative. We told him, man, your parents should have named your middle name Mr. Negative, because everything you buy, you go buy a new car, man, that thing, how much is that gas going to cost you? You buy a house, man, how much is the water going to cost you? So he's that kind of person where he will try to find fault in every single thing. You go try to lose weight. Why would you want to do that? You look good just the way you are, even though you got high blood pressure and high cholesterol and you're about ready to die. One of those type people.
Yeah.
Tori, can you read the next one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Go away. All right. Conversely, but similarly, those who find success in worldly pursuits and gaining wealth, power, and fame are also judged and envied by others who want what they have. It is the energy of envy itself that persecutes and judges others in the mirror, as well as fear.
Here, did everybody get that?
Yes. Yes.
Here, the trick of the mind to continue to survive in duality is to project out its faults onto others, fighting and blaming the outside world. You heard that one before. Relationships, oh, it's her fault, it's his fault. Governments, oh, it's the politicians, they all lie. The partners, oh, he lied to me and stole all the money and ran away with the treasury. And even God, who brings vengeance and terror and thunder and lightning to end your little lives because you are so unworthy for its own misconception, making others responsible for the stress and suffering of its life. In other words, they put all the stress on themselves and blame them. It's your fault that I'm stressed out. You ever heard somebody say, you're stressing me out?
Yeah.
You have to sit there and go, how crazy does that sound?
You know, some people, when they don't want to hear from you, they say, no, you're stressing me out.
You're stressing.
You know, it's like, man, it's like, okay.
Think about what they're literally saying. You have the power over me to influence emotion called stress.
But Pastor, it's because they don't want to hear the truth.
People would rather be in a lie than be told the truth and set free.
Yeah, because if they were given the truth, then they have to do something about it. And if they don't do something about it, and it's going to be bugging them.
You know why? Most people have fought that belief for so long, then instead of saying, you know what? I made a mistake. I got it wrong. I apologize. It's easy to just stay there and keep defending it and be confused. So now I don't want to hear from you. You're stressing me out. Why? I'm asking a question. Now it's just a question that's stressing you out. Really? And people lose their mind over a question.
They want to become an ostrich, Pastor.
Oh man, head in the, matter of fact, they want to run away and then put their head in the sand. You are stressing me out. Oh, you're giving me a migraine. You're making my head hurt. Don't ever give anybody that much power ever. Not to your husband, not to your children, not to your wife, not to the neighbor, not to the dog, not to the cat, not to the giraffe, the goldfish, nobody. Never give them that much power. That makes sense? Through its projection, the mind only hears others through filters with own thoughts, experiences, beliefs, and conditionings. losing the state of openness that enables us to be present with each person for who and what they are. In other words, why cannot meet people where they are? Instead, we want to rush them to make a decision on life. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Time is of an essence. Time. You're running out of time. You need to make a decision. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Why are you not in this job? Why come you're in that job and you said you went to this? You got to have, what is wrong with you? You're crazy? Come on.
Pastor, there's always two sides of a coin, Pastor.
Normally the one who's doing that needs to come and sit down on our couch and get therapy because they're insane. Because the first thing we taught you is you can't change people and you can't change the world. You can plant that seed, but it is useless to grow. Hurry up and grow, corn. Hurry up and grow. Anson, you ain't growing fast enough. You're not getting it, Anson. Hurry up, TDM. Come on, Melissa. Top. You should have got this by now. Where's your 11.5? We should all be on a yacht now.
I'm getting there. I'm doing something. I'm getting there.
I would rather a person do something than absolutely nothing. So you have to pick your poison. Which one do you want? Do you want the person doing something?
But also we want to be productive, Pastor.
Okay, something is productive, but it's always in the opinion of the others or what they want productivity to be. Productivity is always in the opinion of the other. Always. You never hear the person who's being talked to saying, oh, I need to be more productive because you're telling me I need to be more productive. You're right. Yes, Lily.
Imagine the years I've been spending time with her. and my reaction is totally very unique. Is that, Mel, you handle it, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to take my nap. And then she will nap and say, I don't understand, how can you go nap now?
Because it's the least thought of resistant thinking. I had to learn through 6 children. Can't change people, can't change the world. What I wanted them to be, what I wanted them to do, none of them turned out that way. Not one of them. 0.
Okay, no. Children's is different, Pastor. You know,
Oh, no, they got free will too.
No. The moment you give birth to them, you give the water, you give the love, you give the sunshine, you give the food, you know.
You're doing your job. Okay, so
And
that's your job.
also, you have to nurture the kids.
You had them.
No, a lot of people just have the kid and let somebody else take care of them.
Did the kid choose?
Sometimes, Pastor, sometimes kids are not something that we put in a cupboard, you know. They are not. You have to nurture.
Now, you're absolutely right. Now, how do we nurture them? Do we nurture them in culture? Do we nurture them in tradition? Do we nurture them in fear? Do we nurture them in religion? Do we nurture them according to how we want them to be, according to our standards and our rules? If so,
no, Pastor, we nurture them with the truth.
Yes. So
and they have to decide what they want to do. Sometimes they go a little bit away, and then we have to pull them back.
Can't pull them back if they stay way out there.
No, you have to pull them back before they go too far out. You have to pull them back. Okay, back to the path.
Sometimes that works for sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Every child is different because look at what we do as parents. We introduce religion, culture, tradition, and all of it is introduced with fear. Because here's why. We give the example all the time. How many of you yelled at your children when you was teaching them about hot stove or fire? Yep. Raise your hand. Let me see you guilty. All of you guilty. Okay, Lily.
But Pastor, once they touch it and that's it.
But we don't
But you scolded them first, you yell at them first, even though they already learned the lesson.
So the fire wasn't enough. I got to yell at you more and beat you.
My kids, our kids didn't have that. I actually heated up the stove first. Not too very hot, but hot enough. And then tell them, okay, go touch it. And tell me what's your experience.
See? That's a great learning tool, freedom. But now they come back and go, hot, hurt. No, not touching that. So 2 different methods. That makes sense. Watch this. The child brings home a C- in math, and the parent scolds the child because he should have got an A. He's struggling in math. What are you, stupid? What's wrong with you? I get A's. Your father gets A's. Your grandmother got A's.
Pastor, the parent has to help the kid. Help the kid. I mean, okay, you're weak in math. Okay, I help you.
Let me help you out. Let me speak for me. My child brought me his homework.
Right, Sudi?
No.
My child brought me his homework. Dad, I need help. I opened it up and I looked at it and I closed it. I said, you better call your teacher because I don't know what that is. Some parents don't know how to help their kids.
True.
It's true. Like for our kids, when they don't do well in studying, it's not their fault, right? So there must be some kind of miscommunication. So just get them a tutor. Not Sudi, yeah? I don't agree that you tutor your own kids. You kill them.
Yeah, we get help.
You're right.
Help. Yeah, we get help.
When my parents tried to help me, I always shut down.
Yeah.
Because it was always a discipline behind it. Why come you're not? What time is it? I don't know, 12 o'clock. Now, now that nurturing, where's the nurturing? I don't want your nurture now. Don't love me now.
You know, Pastor, when I started my kids on piano lesson, okay? They do not want to learn piano. They do not know why I have to learn piano. So I bring them to the teacher. I'm there, and then Stanley can only sit for 15 minutes, you know, and then, okay, that's fine. We go home, and I have to sit beside them when they're practicing and say, okay, you gotta practice. It's very nice. You know, you just talk with your kids, and that's how they build up the liking of playing piano. And it's not overnight, you know.
And it's unique that you did that, but most people sit them down, put the timer on, put the Metatron on, and this poor kid has to sit there for a whole hour with perfection on what mommy and daddy wants to do because they pay for it, because they think that's going to make them smarter.
And the consequence is, if you don't do that, you have no dinner tonight.
You're not going to eat. You're going to be punished. Because you didn't learn, you didn't hit the, really, you didn't. So now look what we did to this child. It says, train your child up in the ways of the Lord. But look at how we're training him. You don't know what to believe. Now when they veer off, you should point at yourself and say, well, I'm the fault. I made them veer off because look at the confusion, because I'm confused myself.
Yes.
This is why we have to each person for who and what they are. Meet them where they are. They should see the love and the light of God within us. They should see the Christ within us. That should be the inspiration, yes?
Yes.
So one way to overcome this externalizing, projecting aspect of the mind is to own it by reversing it. So when people start projecting it, You can simply teach them, you know how? You know how to teach them the simplest way? How does my belief affect your belief? Normally, that shuts down the conversation. That shuts down an argument. Because if they're logical, they have to go, wait a minute, your belief shouldn't affect where I believe. What I believe is working for me, but you believe works for you. Make sense?
Yes.
Through honesty, ultimately, you notice that everything you judge or label in another is yourself.
Mm.
Boy, people don't like to hear that, boy. Pastor, I don't know. That ain't me. I would never attract that. I ain't nothing like that person. Yeah, okay. Each time you judge another, change the you into an I, and you will see how much you're putting yourself down. You're merely my projection, my own self-image painted onto you. I am everything that I judge you to be. Yet consider how strange a solution the ego's arrangement is. You project guilt to get rid of it, but you've actually merely concealing it. All they're doing is hiding it. They try to throw it up on you to show you that they're not fearful. And then they try to act tough. Don't work. You do experience the guilt, but you have no idea why. Most people don't even know why they're feeling guilty.
Mhm.
You know that? Don't even have a clue other than someone told me that was wrong, or I read somewhere and did something and that was wrong.
Mhm.
That's where it came from. On the contrary, you associate it with the weird assortment of ego's ideas, which the ego claims you failed. Yet you have no idea that you're failing the Son of God by seeing him as guilty. Believing you are no longer you, you do not realize that you're failing yourself. The darkest of your hidden cornerstones holds your belief in guilt from your awareness. For in the dark and secret place is the realization that you have betrayed God's Son by condemning him to death. You do not even suspect this murderous but insane idea lies hidden there, for the ego's destructive urge is so intense that nothing short of crucifixion of God's Son could ultimately satisfy it. This is why they try to crucify you when you're being honest with them and truly trying to help them. And then all of a sudden, you get a left hook and you got a duck.
Mhm.
And they're trying to fight you. Sometimes we're the one throwing the punches, and we need the therapy. Not all of us, but sometimes we've been there. It does not know who the Son of God is because it is blind. Yet, let it perceive guiltlessness anywhere, and it will try to destroy it because it is afraid. This is why God said he did not give you fear, but power, love, and a sound mind.
Mhm.
So ego is a fear. Much of the ego's strange behavior is directly attributable to its definition of guilt. To the ego, the guiltless are guilty. Those who do not attack are its enemies because by not valuing its interpretation of salvation, they are in excellent position to let it go. They have approached the darkest and deepest cornerstones in the ego's foundation. And while the ego can withstand your raising all else to question, this is why it doesn't like questioning. So if you were to ask a person about their belief, just not to attack, but to get understanding, if they're not fully understanding of what their belief is, what's going to happen?
Mhm.
You're going to get attacked.
Yes.
You're going to get judged. It guards this one secret with its life, for its existence depends on keeping this secret. So it is this secret that we must look upon, for the ego cannot protect you against truth. And this is why truth will what? Make you free.
Mm.
And in its presence, the ego is dispelled.
Yes.
In the calm light of truth, let us recognize that you believe you have crucified God's Son. You have not admitted this to this terrible secret because you would still wish to crucify them if you could find them. So if Melissa's enemy could find her, oh, they would string her up. have her over the little roasted fire with an apple in her mouth. If they could get their hands on Pastor, oh man, the deliciousness. Yet the wish has hidden him from you because it is very fearful, and so you're afraid to find him. You have handled this wish to kill yourself by not knowing who you are and identifying with something else. So when we say that, we're not saying physically killing themselves. We're saying people don't know who they are. And because they don't know who they are as a child of God, now they start identifying themselves as other ones. They start mimicking other people, other things. Make sense?
Yeah.
You're projected guilt blindly and indiscriminately, but you have not uncovered its source. This is why most people don't want to go down the rabbit hole and find out why or where they picked it up from. For the ego does not want to kill you, and if you identify with it, you must believe its goals are yours. I've said that the crucifixion is the symbol of the ego. When it was confronted with the real guiltlessness of God's son, it did attempt to kill him, and the reason it gave was the guiltlessness is blasphemous to God. To the ego is God, and guiltlessness must be interpreted as the final guilt that fully justifies murder. You do not yet understand that any fear you may experience in connection with this course stems ultimately from its interpretation. But if you will consider your reactions to it, you will become increasingly convinced that this is so. This course has explicitly stated that its goal for you is what? Happiness and peace. Yet, most people are afraid of it because they don't know what happiness is, and they would rather be right than to be in peace.
Yes.
This is why they keep the argument. So if you ever watch two people argue back and forth, get your popcorn and your 3D glasses, because if you were to sit there and watch them, both of them are trying to be right.
Yeah.
To the point where now one is shouting over the other. To the point where now one has the finger in the face. Now the other, don't you put your finger in my face. And now there's a slapping of the finger of the devil, there's a pushing it out. There's a big old fight over who wants to be right. And we see it all the time. You have been told again and again that this will set you free, yet you sometimes react as if this is trying to imprison you. You often dismiss it more readily than you dismiss the ego's thought system. To some extent, then you must believe that by not learning the course, you are protecting yourself, and you do not realize that it is only your guiltness that can protect you. Let's see. Oh, we only got a few more. The atonement has always been interpreted as the release from guilt, and this is correct if it is understood. Yet, even when I interpret it for you, you may reject it and do not accept it for yourself. You have perhaps recognized the fertility of the ego and its offering, but though you do not want them, you may not yet look upon the alternative with gladness. This is why it's hard for people to rejoice in trouble. Instead, they'll complain about the trouble and then watch the trouble get bigger and then try to project the trouble on you. Oh, no, Pastor, you deal with it. I don't want this no more. In the extreme, you're afraid of redemption and you believe it will kill you. Make no mistake about the depth of this fear, for you believe that the presence of truth, you might turn on yourself and destroy yourself. This is why most people do not want to accept the truth, because they have fought to be right so long that it's hard for them to have peace. Little child, this is not so. Your guilty secret is nothing, and if you will but bring it to the light will dispel it. And then no dark cloud will remain between you and the remembrance of your Father, which is in heaven. For you will remember his guiltless Son, who did not die, because they are immortal. And you will see that you were redeemed with them and have never been separated from them. In this understanding lies your remembering, for it is the recognition of love without fear. There will be great joy in heaven on your homecoming, not when you die right now, So don't start writing your obituaries. And the joy will be yours. For the redeemed Son of Man is the guiltless Son of God, and to recognize him is your redemption. Questions, comments, concerns? Guiltless sons of God? All right, who wants to close us out in prayer then? Todian, come hither. He ran away.
You know. Mama, you want to pray? Oh, Selena want to pray.
What? All right. Go for it. What a great honor.
Heavenly Father, thank you for everything you have done for us. Thank you for making me safe, happy, fulfilled. And thank you for helping everybody else around us. Hopefully everybody will be master creation, have their creations fulfilled, and everything will be well. Thank you so much. Amen. Oh my God.
That is so awesome.
Good.
See, now I'm gonna have a great week on that one, man. See, that was my blessing right there.
I know. I'm getting so many creations manifested lately.
Oh man, that is so good to hear. You are such a deliberate, good creator. You are. Keep it up. So now you got to give us more testimony when we get on. Well, the reason why we do the testimonies is so people can go and practice it, because most of the time the preachers will get in the pulpit and tell you to go pray, but don't tell you how to pray to manifest your desires. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when they hear from you out there from the preacher, wow, that's a great testimony, because now if Selena can do it, I can do it too. Makes sense? Great blessing. Thank you so much. You all have a great, blessed day. Thank you all again for joining us. Prayerfully, we will see you all tomorrow. We love you much. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.